I'm not here to talk about how YouTube is trying to abuse me by removing my entire Google account because they removed my YouTube account, but now they're all Google is trying to say that they found stuff on my that's stupid. I'm here to talk about something else entirely. Electrons. Because I'm pretty much just fed up with people talking about them wrong. So let's do a little bit of no, I'm not looking at that anymore. All right, so here's the thing, right? Back about a minute ago, I was watching a video talking. No, not bedtime thoughts. No, not that. Not whatever that is. Not him. That's cool. I like that guy. That guy's good. The blood. No, where is this video I was talking about? Okay, listen. Where the hell is the video I was talking about? Anyway, Veritasium made a video. I'm gonna bitch slap you. Where the hell is that freaking... That's the old video. Where's the... How long ago was the... Never mind, I'll just look at his channel. Shut up. He talked to... It was that video. It was the video about the blood. Okay, this is the video. Okay, cool. I'll be back. Okay, so here's the thing that you said.
Static attraction that makes this bond even stronger. Now, in reality, electrons behave more like fuzzy clouds than
No!
the orbiting points in this animation, but
Here's the thing that you're getting completely wrong. Okay? Electrons are orbiting and they are fuzzy clouds. Don't turn away. Let me explain. So, here's how this works. You have an electron that's going... I looked up the speed of the electron is 2.2 kilometers per second. That seems like a crazy number when kilometers has nothing to do with the size of an electron. So I did the math. And you know what happens? You shrink down to the size of an atom and you're at 1/10 of a nanometer. Yeah, so you do the math and you find out that a electron goes about 2 quadrillion atomic lengths every second. But that speed is reduced in distance traveled to only 1 around an atomic mass. So basically, 1/10 of a nanometer repeated to the point of 2.2 kilometers is about 2.2 quintillion. Where's a quadrillion? Sorry, quadrillion. It's still a big number of electron echoes. It's about 500 trillion electron echoes around a single atom. That's because every time because of the speed of the electron, it goes around the atom once, and then it's only been 500 trillionths of a second. So you can imagine that if you were to come back around the Earth so fast that you basically haven't left the spot that you're in because of like a persistence of vision thing, then you do that like another 500 trillion times, you end up finding yourself taking up a lot of space because you literally can't occupy the same space as yourself, but you're already traveling so fast, you've passed yourself many times over. Does that make sense? Like, if you were to take that, let's say you have a measuring tape, and for every millimeter on the measuring tape, you think of that as the space of an electron. Now, it's a much smaller, but let's just use that as an analogy. You stretch that measuring tape out a couple feet or a couple, like 20 feet, it feels like a very long way. How many millimeters is that? That's not a best analogy. Let's say you do a couple of meters, right? So you have 2,000 millimeters in that whole length, but then you let the measuring tape pull back in. All of those millimeters are in the same small the space of the measuring tape itself, that cube. So you have to imagine that kind of compression, but instead of millimeters, we're talking about tenth of a nanometer. Or in the case of an electron, the actual size of an electron is way smaller. So you have to wonder, that's basically how they're able to have an orbit that is a specific distance, and the moment that you speed it up, you increase the number of electron echoes per second because it cycles around the atom so many more times. It literally can't take up that same amount of distance from the amount of electromagnetic repulsion is increased by the number of extra echoes there are. So that pushes it that much more away from the atom itself. So, yeah, if you have a sped up electron, that's why it goes up and down discrete levels, and you don't find it throughout the levels because it's literally orbiting, and there's no way for it to like slow down enough to go down here or speed up enough to go up here. It has to be a discrete amount of distance. Or it ends up in those shells because that coincides with the amount of speed and the amount of extra echoes of the electron that are present. So when he
The
says,
principle still holds positive. So now there's an electrostatic attraction that makes this bond even stronger. Now, in reality, electrons behave more like fuzzy clouds than the orbiting points in this animation, but the principle still holds.
unfortunately, you're wrong, sort of right. The orbiting things in that situation, you have to understand, it's just doing that same orbit, but again, 500 trillion times per second. I don't know if you had anything going 500 trillion RPM, but holy crap, that's a lot. And also, like, the faster you spin something, the less likely you're able to see just how much of it is there or what it actually looks like. You got to slow it down. And even by slowing down the footage, you're not going to properly see it because you have to physically slow it down in order to get a proper vision of all of it. That's why when you look at an electron, it shows up as 1 point. Because that's all that's there physically. But that point is zipping by so many times, you don't see it It's like if you spin any wheel, at some point that same color spot that you put on the wheel shows up everywhere on the wheel. But you know persistence of vision is happening, and it's not just that that point exists in all points at the same time, it's that it has existed in all points at some point in that same second or fraction of a second that you're looking at it. So like just take any wheel and or take anything you can spin and spin it up fast enough with just one dot of a recognizable color on it, you'll notice it shows up everywhere at some point, right? So in order to if you wanted to, you'd have to get like a proper amount of extreme speed photons, which is obviously photons are already faster than electrons. They're going extra magnitude beyond the speed of an electron because 2,200 meters per second is nothing compared to 200,000 meters per second. 200 million meters per second for a photon? Near 300 million meters per second for a photon. So it's like there's a magnitude order beyond of speed for photons. You should be able to use those to get a good glimpse of electrons. It's not just that, you need to have like something that can take 500,000 pictures per second. That's hard to do. And even if you have an analyzer that can take all the information and then translate that into a movie that is able to be animated in any way whatsoever, so that a fraction of a second is just displayed over 10 minutes, you're still going to have a lot of information to go through. But yeah, that's the thing. You can't just say it's a fuzzy cloud. And yes, they do operate like that, but it's the slight thing that like people think they don't understand electrons. They're not hard to understand. I hope this was semi-informative. I need to have a proper like animation to explain how electrons really are. So many, even if it's just one electron in a hydrogen atom, it's so many. But then imagine for this imagine for this atom and how big that is with its many electrons orbiting it. It has that one extra space that because of the stuff inside of it, those protons want to attract one more electron, right? So it bonds really well with whatever is giving it that electron. And carbon has like just a bunch of electrons that it could give. So it's like a really good connection between the fluorine and carbon bonds. But the point is, the fuzzy cloud thing, I couldn't just let that slide because it isn't just the fact that it's a cloud, it's the fact that it's a hypersonic cloud. Anyway,